everybody, it's me again, Jack Wallen. Are you sick of hearing me, seeing me? I'm not sick of hearing or seeing you. And isn't that the point? Well, no, because you see, I can't actually hear or see you, so it's all kind of moot anyway. But that's not the point. So here's the thing. This is actually well, technically speaking, it's the fourth video I've filmed today. But in all eventuality, it'll only be the second video I've recorded today. Let me explain. And when I explain, I will then explain to you why I'm talking about what I'm talking about. I'm exhausted. Okay, so earlier today, I filmed a video that you may or may not have watched about the filming, or actually not the filming, the recording of We Are the World. The documentary was called The Greatest Night in Pop. I highly, highly recommend it. So I filmed it, and it was great. And then I watched it, and I realized, oh, darn it, I'm out of focus. And I filmed it again. And once again, it's great. And there were parts that were in and out of focus. It was like, I'm underwater. I'm in focus. I'm back underwater. See what I mean? So what I decided after the second take, I was like, After the second take, I was like, that's it. I can't do it anymore. I'm done. I've talked about this enough. I don't know if I'd have a better take. You see, one of the things I should probably say is that these videos in this entire series are completely off the cuff. I don't have a teleprompter in front of me. This is just me and my brain and my mouth speaking. And if you've ever had to speak off the cuff for roughly 15 minutes, you understand how taxing it could be mentally. So after I watched the second take and I dumped it into Final Cut Pro, I said, that's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But I thought, I got to fix this problem. You see, I have a cinema camera. It's a Zcam E2F6 camera. It's a great camera. It really is a great camera. I almost brought a red Komodo, but I was just out of my price range. It was probably twice as much as this camera that I have. And I have 3 lenses for this camera. They are all prime lenses, so they don't zoom in and out. And they don't have autofocus. No autofocus. I am not using autofocus in this. Now, my Sony camera downstairs in my studio where I film my other video series does have autofocus. So I can go wee back and forth and the camera will magically follow me and keep me in focus. But the thing is, this camera has a cinema quality to it, and I like that. It's more artistic. The Sony camera is kind of it's bereft of artistry. That's all I can say. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't use it to make artistic things, but by nature, it doesn't have a whole lot of art inside its guts. This camera, however, all about art, which if you know me, you know I'm all about art. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so I have 3 lenses. They're all, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's in Miki. They're German lenses. And I have a 50 millimeter, an 85 millimeter, and a 143 millimeter lens. I think that's what it is. And I've been using the 85 millimeter lens for all of these videos so far since I made the big switch. And the problem with the 85 millimeter lens is it has a very, very shallow depth of focus. So if I were to move just even the slightest bit back and forth, I go in and out of focus. And that was becoming problematic because with the 85 millimeter lens, I was standing like 10 feet away. And with my old eyes, like if I take my glasses off and I look up, so I have a field monitor up there that I look at to make sure that I'm in focus. I can't tell. I look blurry. Whee! It doesn't matter where I stand. And then I go, oh, there are my glasses. I can see that I'm in focus now. So, but when you're 10 feet away with 56-year-old eyes, it doesn't matter if I have my glasses on or not. It's hard to tell. And I'm doing this all by myself. I don't have anybody else back here with, tweaking the focus on me. It's just me. One-man wrecking crew, as I always say. So the point I'm trying to make is, and this is an important point for me, because it is something that I have had to learn over the years, learn how to accept. The point is, I have made mistakes. You have actually, if you have been following me on this, you have been a part of those mistakes. You've seen them. Here's a mistake right now. I have moved. I'm no longer upstairs in the TV room, or as I like to say, Oni's room. I am in the foyer. I'm in the front room. And right over there is the porch. And on the porch is a wind chime. And old me would have gone outside before I filmed this and taken down that wind chime. But new me's like, it's going to happen. Things are going to happen. Just like when I was upstairs in Oni's room while I'm filming, she just might get out of her little nest and go, hey, what's up? I'm Oni. Let everybody know that I'm here. Mistakes happen. And I'm here to tell you that 40-year-old me, 30-year-old me, when those mistakes happened, I was hell-bent on making sure they didn't. And let me tell you, the road to perfection is filled with potholes and bumps and off-ramps and hair pulling and shouting and the worst crappy music that you could ever have to listen to on a road trip. It is bad. The road to perfection may as well be called the road to hell, because you go through hell seeking perfection. And 40, 30, 20-year-old me thought, fully, profoundly believed, that the only way that I could be the best possible me, or be the best possible at what I was trying to do, was to seek perfection. And trust me, that led to so many more problems. Because with every stinking mistake, I discovered that there was something even bigger underneath it. You lift up that little rock that has mistake written on it, and all sorts of critters crawl out from underneath it. So what I'm trying to say right now is that instead of looking at those mistakes as failure, look at them as in two ways. An opportunity to grow and learn, or something unique. For example, the wind chimes out there. I don't know if you can hear them. My little mic that's taped to the inside of my shirt, it may or may not pick them up, but if it picks them up, it's a beautiful sound. So why not leave it? That pause that I just made, it wasn't because I was like, oh, in my head I was thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say next? It was breath. It was air. It was allowing some oxygen to happen. It wasn't a mistake. It may have come off as a mistake. And there are some times when I'm talking and I trip over my mouth. Let me give you another example. This is a wonderful example. This is probably the best example of owning a mistake I can ever give you. It was, every time I think of it, it makes me smile. So, 5 or so years ago, I was in a production of The Mystery of Irma Vep. I don't know if you know that show, but it is a 2-person show wherein the 2 people play about 3 or 4 roles each. And it's usually 2 men, and they play both men and women. And it is a challenge. The biggest challenge of this show is there are times where you walk off stage and you have one line to change costumes and come back on stage as a completely different character. So, me and the gentleman who were in the show, we're on stage and we're doing our thing. And it's, it's the usual kind of magic because he and I really work well together. And he goes off stage and I'm on stage doing a monologue, doing my thing. And he comes on stage as the wrong character. And we caught each other's gazes. And in that moment, we both realized what had happened. And the look on his face was priceless. And I walked over to him and I pretty much just said, "Oh, my darling, it is not time for you." And I escorted him off stage. And he comes, and the audience was in on it, because that's the beauty of live theater. They knew something had gone wrong, and they watched us handle it as professionals. And it made the moment magic. They laughed and laughed and laughed, and we laughed and laughed because we were all in on the joke, and it was wonderful. It was a mistake, yes. But what we did was we took that mistake and made art out of it. It's just like, I don't know the name of it, but it's like that Japanese thing where they take broken pottery and they put it back together with gold and make something even more beautiful out of it. That's what we did on stage in a live performance, and it was great. We owned that mistake. We didn't hide it. We didn't try to duck around it and say, "Oh, look over here, look over here. We didn't make a mistake. We didn't make a mistake." We said, "We made a mistake, and we're going to show you how wonderful and humorous and fun it can be when it happens, because you, audience, are a part of it." Here's another example. This isn't so fun. 10 years ago, when I would write a first draft of a book, and I would send it to my editor. When my editor would send the edits back, I would see all of that, those changes and track changes and comments, and it would eat at me. It would just break my soul, because my goal was to send the perfect manuscript to my editor. It took me a while to get beyond that attitude. It took me a while to realize there's a reason why editors exist. And my striving for perfection in a first draft, imagine what that did to me. Now, I still want to present the cleanest copy that I can send to my editor so she doesn't have to pull her hair out and work extra hard at cleaning it up. And the one thing that I know, that I trust completely in myself, that I am submitting stories that are, the story itself is sound. It's just, there's going to be some grammar to clean up. But it took me a while to just go, you know what, you're going to submit manuscripts that have mistakes in them. Just be okay with it. And you know what, even better, sometimes those mistakes turned into gold. There have been moments where I wrote something that I didn't intend to write, and my editor was like, "Whoa, this is great." Like, "Oh, really? Okay, let's keep it then." She didn't have to know it was a mistake. We're all going to make mistakes. Just like you have watched in this video series, you have probably seen mistakes. Like I just looked up at the field monitor. Down, up, down, over to the light. Oh, now I can't see because I'm seeing lights. You've seen me make mistakes here, and you've seen me be okay with them. Or you've seen me just kind of maneuver my way around them. It happens. Life is filled with mistakes. And the more you strive to avoid them, the harder life's going to be. Just remember, just please remember this one thing. Failure and mistakes are two very different things. And I believe the only true failure is giving up. When you make a mistake, learn from it. And only, absolutely only as a last resort do you give up. But if you're like me, giving up is just not part of my equation. That's why I keep doing these videos. Even during that period where I could not get anybody to watch these things. I don't know if anybody's watching them now. But I'm an artist. I have to create. It is my prime directive. And part of that prime directive is, well, I'm going to make mistakes. And as long as I learn from them, everything's good. Anyway, thank you again for paying a little bit of attention to me. I hope that you've learned something today. Maybe you were entertained. I don't know. Maybe I was able to keep you from thinking about the drudgery of life. I'm just kidding. If you like what you saw, please subscribe. If not, that's okay. I don't mind if you don't subscribe. But if you think that somebody you know might learn something from this or need to hear what I have to say, share it with them, because sharing is caring. I hope you have the most fantastic and wonderful day, and may it be filled with a million tiny joys.